Iguodala. For some reason, every year we have somebody who has to wear the mask. For some reason, somebody breaks their face every year.
Top 3 NBA players of all time. You played DB at Colby College in Maine, right?
Yeah,
Tell me about your playing career, and then you got to give me one player that you know, like who in the NFL now was your style like?
Oh my goodness gracious!
I'm Adam Breneman.
This is
Next up. Wild. Next up. What's up, guys? Welcome into the Next Up by Mercury podcast. I'm your host, Adam Breneman. We're here on campus at Villanova University outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's game day for the basketball team. But before their game tonight, we're going to talk to 2 of their star players, Caleb Daniels and Brandon Slater. Going to be a great conversation before their game. Happy they made time for us. And then after that, we're talking to Villanova Athletic Director Mark Jackson, exclusive one-on-one sit-down. Going to talk about the future of Villanova athletics, the transition of Coach Wright to Coach Neptune, the future of Villanova football. Awesome conversation. Excited for you guys to see it. Now, before we get to the interviews, at Mercury, we are changing the way that fans interact with their favorite sports teams, and we're dropping our Villanova platform, novanation.io. If you're a true Villanova fan, you have to have an account on here. You get exclusive content, digital collectibles, access to players that fans haven't seen before. If you're a true Villanova fan, go to novanation.io and make your account today. Let's go talk to the players. All right, we got our first basketball podcast, my first ever basketball interview too, so I'm fired up. We got Brandon Slater, Caleb Daniels, and it's game day.
Yes, it is.
Game day, right?
Game day.
So take me through like what happens on game day. You guys wake up, shoot a podcast, and then go play a game. Like what's game day look like normally?
You wanna go?
So game day, usually we wake up, have team breakfast together in the hotel. Yeah. Usually, we're not trying to be on our phones a lot game day, so we're just with our teammates and our coaches in the hotel, eating together, just team bond and stuff like that, just little things that'll bring a team closer. Then guys who have class, luckily me and Caleb, we are 5th year, 6th year seniors, so we don't have that much class like the rest of the younger players. But the guys who do have class, they go to class for a little bit, and then they get dismissed like halfway through the school day to prepare for our game. And then we come in, we have like another film session. We have another like walkthrough where we go over plays and go over certain concepts that we need to fine tune before the game. We have the team meal together, and then we prepare for the game. Yeah, that's sweet. What's your game day routine? Same thing?
Pretty much the same thing.
No class?
No class. We normally go back to our rooms, chill for a little bit, have some downtime, but then come back for a shoot around. Like Brandon said, we'll watch film, get ready, see what they like to do, scout, come back out, walk through a couple things, make sure that we fine-tune what we need to. And then we have a pregame meal, which includes our benediction from Father Rob. We eat together, watch a couple things together, and then we prepare for, walk through again and warm-ups. So.
What's it like? You guys are both older guys on the team. I feel like in college basketball, especially, you don't often have a lot of like 5th and 6th year seniors, on the team. What's that dynamic like? Obviously, you guys are the leaders. I saw we came in here and you were taking leadership already, telling the guys we got to turn the lights off and stuff. Like, how do you take that role, and what's it like, kind of being the older guys on the team?
I think our role is just to always every day set the standard and just set the tone every single day. We've seen guys before us, like I'm sure you know Colin Gillespie, Jermaine Samuels, Dymere Cosby-Roundtree. Those are the guys for us that set the tone every single day. We just had to follow and just be the best that we can be every single day to help them. And now it's our job as leaders to just set that standard every single day and set the tone. So we see them do it, so now it's on us to just carry that tradition and keep it going. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing he said. We seen guys like Colin Gillespie, Jermaine Samuels, Dymere Cosby-Roundtree, before us, and even before that, Eric Paschal, Phil Booth. Those guys, they set the standard, and they let us understand that basketball is more than just on the floor. It's everything that leads up to it, off the floor. Whatever you do, it matters on the floor, and it happens in the game. No matter how small it may seem to you in that moment, it's bigger than that, and it's always going to be bigger than that as a leader because everybody's looking up to you.
Yeah. I want to hear about your guys' stories of how you ended up at Villanova. Obviously, you transferred from Tulane. You came from outside of DC in Virginia. Would love to just hear like the story of like how you got from Tulane to Villanova.
It was quite an interesting story. Coming out of high school, I didn't have like any crazy offers, but Tulane, that being basically my backyard, 5 minutes away from home, I wanted to stay home and go to Tulane as a freshman. I had a great 2 years there. It's always in my heart. But I felt at the time it was time for me to depart ways and just, expand my horizons, and decided to come out here to be a part of something that was bigger than myself. I felt as if I met a lot of amazing people at Tulane that's still near, dear, and close to me. But I'm going to have a lot of individual success. But I felt like it was time for me to just become a part of a family. And I felt Villanova was always a school that I just always admired their culture, just watching through the TV and, just through a different lens.
Yeah.
I've always just see how tight they play together, how committed they are to one another, and that's something that I always wanted to be a part of. And just having that opportunity is very special, and it's still a blessing for me today to be a part of it.
Yeah. What was your journey like out of high school?
Yeah, a little bit different than Caleb. I was a little bit more, they joke around a lot, but I was a little bit more highly touted coming out of high school.
5-star, yeah. 5-star. Big time, Mr. Big Time.
Yeah, a little something like that. But they started recruiting me before the first national championship. So around 2015, 2016, like my freshman year in high school, they started recruiting me, and I just built really a bond with the coaching staff at that time. It's changed a little bit, but it's pretty much the same guys. So I built kind of a bond with those guys. And then after the first national championship team, where they had some guys from back home on the team, and I was really excited to see that. And then I built that camaraderie, that chemistry. I used to come up here a lot, practice with my high school team at the time, Paul VI Catholic High School. Practice with my team up here, play some team camps up here, get to know the guys, look around campus a little bit. Then they started getting me up here on more visits and stuff like that. So I just felt real comfortable. And this was actually the only school I ever had visits on.
Oh, really?
This is the only school I ever wanted visits on.
Yeah.
So then, just after that, I committed. I was the first one to commit in the original 2018 class. And then other guys followed, and then I just stuck with it,
That's cool. Yeah, so your senior year was when they won the Natty, right? In 18? Your senior year in high school.
My senior year in high school.
It's probably easy to stick around after a team wins a national championship, right?
Yeah, it was definitely, it definitely helped. It was definitely easier to come into a situation to where you're like, this team has actually done it. And they've done it twice in the last 3 years, so it's a blessing.
I mean, so you're, like you said, a big-time recruit. You got to give us some recruiting stories, man. Like, what's big-time basketball recruiting like? Because you hear stories about it, but give me an example of like what was going on, like teams pursuing you and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say, man, like craziest thing that I experienced with another teammate. So at the time, I had another teammate who was a McDonald's All-American. He was a 5-star. He was all these big accolades, player of the year in our state and all that. And I'm not gonna say the school, but there's a school that is very known for it's known for its recruiting difficulties or ways to get to get recruits to feel like that they want to come there. And I wouldn't say I was a part of it or he was a part of it, but you definitely see when you go to different games, you go to different visits, you see like, oh wow, like this is a great school, and it might trip you up and it might mess up your your thinking for a little hot second while you're at the visit. But honestly, I think I had like the most regular recruitment out of like all the big time recruits. I really, my parents and my coaches, they did a great job of keeping me level headed and just never letting me see anything like crazy like that.
When you decided to transfer from Tulane, did you know you wanted to go to Villanova, or were you kind of like, were other schools pursuing you?
I didn't tell many people this, but there were a lot of schools that were definitely recruiting me. But I'm an older guy, so I'm just like I'm straightforward. I know what I want and what I don't. And when I went in the portal, my mindset was, okay, let me just see what's going on, what's out there for me. But my intention is to initially come back to Tulane.
Yeah.
And Coach Wright reached out to me, and we had a long conversation about our, and I wanted to take a visit to Villanova. I wanted to be a part of that experience and see, what's it about. And I remember telling my parents before the official visit, listen, like, my mindset is coming back to Tulane, but let's hear them out and let's see what the environment is like. And this is like springtime. Everybody is going home.
Yeah.
School is out pretty much. So, like, you can't really experience it because everybody's gone. But there were a few players that were up here. Damir and Colin was up here. And the first night, I remember having a long day with them. I came back to the hotel that we were staying in. I told my parents, I said, listen, it's a great first day, but we know the intentions.
Yeah.
Like, okay. The second day happens. Came back later that night. They asked me, what's on your mind? I said, oh boy.
It's going to get difficult.
It's going to be difficult, but they're winning me over right now.
Yeah.
So the third night comes. This is the day I have to leave. And we had team dinner with Coach and his family to end the day. And literally we're at the airport, and I told my parents, I'm going to Villanova. Like, it's solidified. I think this is something that I want to be a part of. And it didn't sell me on anything, sweet or lovely in the visit. It was all about, literally, he told me, listen, we can do all of this for you, but, like, it's either you want to come here or not and be a part of something that's different or not. And that part in itself stood out to me, because coming from a program where it was pretty much centered around me, to leave that and become a part of something that's bigger than you, it's hard for most transfers to do that.
Yeah.
So for me to approach it with a different mentality, I thought it was hard beginning with it, because when I first came here, I was a red shirt.
Yeah.
So pretty much I have to do everything for Brandon, everything for Colin, Jermaine, those guys. I have to get them better every single day, while also trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with them and making sure that I'm getting better every single day. So just coming from that situation to that is very difficult, and it's hard for a lot of transfers to do that. So I commend those who do that, honestly.
Yeah. What was it in particular that Coach Wright sold both of you to make that final decision? Like, you said he didn't sell you on anything, but, like, what was it that made Villanova that much different than, obviously it's different than Tulane, a different level, but what was it that Coach Wright, like, what's his closing pitch when he's trying to get you to come?
This is going to be a situation where you're doing a lot for the team. It's not all about you.
Yeah.
It's
Bigger
about
than you. Yeah.
just attitude, having a great attitude every day regardless. You're going to go through a lot, but it's going to pay off. Not only for your individual success, but as a team success. And that's something that, like I said, like, I've always wanted to be a part of, and something that I always respected about this program from afar. So to be here and to be up close with it and to be taught by him was just a great honor and a blessing.
Yeah. What was your closing pitch?
Yeah, I think differently than all the schools who were offering me or recruiting me at the time. Coach Wright, he told me, he's like, I'm not going to promise you playing time. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to be this, that you're going to be that. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to try to make you the best man you could be on and off the floor. And that comes with a lot of hardships and difficulties, but I really appreciate it, because in all the difficult situations in life, like, I've now gained a respect for myself to see that, I can go through this and I can come out on top every time, man. And whether that's a win or a loss, or if that's something that goes my way or doesn't go my way in life, it's just I can always stay even keeled because I can keep myself humble. And that's one of the things that Coach Wright definitely preaches to me and Caleb still to this day about being humble and hungry.
Yeah. Yep. I want to ask you about obviously Coach Wright was such a big part of you guys coming here. What's that transition been like now that he's still around the program but not the head coach, and Coach Neptune stepped in? Like, when did you guys first find out that Coach Wright was, retiring, and how did that whole process go down?
Yeah, so I say it like this: we didn't know that he was actually retiring that season, so it definitely took us as a shock. And how we actually found out was, I think most of us was asleep. But for my story, I was just knocked out on my bed, just like gone. And then Colin Gillespie, he bangs on my door and they just blast my door open. And then I'm like, yo, like, what's up? And he's like, bro, did you see Twitter? I'm like, what you mean did I see Twitter? He's like, bro, did you see Twitter? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then like he shows me the tweet and I'm like, all right, bro, like stop joking. Like, all right, whatever. Like you just woke me up out of my sleep. Like now I'm kind of like pissed off at him because like he woke me up out of my sleep.
Yeah.
And then
Big sleep guy.
yeah, I'm heavy on sleeping and napping. So like if you wake me up out of my nap, like I'm gonna be upset. So then 2 more guys come in. Then pretty much the whole team is like in our room at the time. I'm like what is going on? Like what's up? What's the problem?
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, did you see it? And then everybody's getting calls, and then I'm still like in a daze. And I'm like, is this real? I'm like, this has to be a joke. And then like as I fully get up, I start talking to Caleb, Justin, Colin, Jermaine, like the older guys who've been here with Coach Wright the most. I start talking and I'm like, do you think this is real? Like, and then soon enough, we had like a team meeting to talk about it, and we discussed it, and then we understood his point of view and where he was coming from, and then we were introduced to our new coach. You know,
Yeah. All happened at once.
it was crazy.
Definitely all happened at once. I kid you not, I was at Gillespie's right around the corner eating with my family. And, you know, we're all in the team chat, and you just start seeing different guys send, like, Twitter, like, mentions of coach, like, retiring or, like, who's going to be the next coach. Like, even past players were, like, tweeting that. And I was just like, I was in disbelief at first. I'm like, no, ain't no way. Like,
Fake account.
This isn't happening, fake account. But then, you know, you want to be in denial to a certain extent, but, like, I knew they were real accounts. It was just like, oh, man, I hope it's not true. And as I'm eating, like, I'm slowly losing my appetite. My anxiety is kicking in. To make matters worse, we get a text from one of the assistants saying, mandatory team meeting at 6 p.m.
That's never good.
Don't be late. And I was like, wow. And then to make it worse, my parents get a Zoom link saying join at a certain time, which was after the players.
Yeah.
So now I'm just thinking in my head, okay, maybe he's trying to deny the rumors that he's, like, retiring.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe there's some hope, because we always do that type of thing where, like, if there's something going on the internet, he'll be quick to deny it or, like, denounce it and let us know, like, that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
And Slate could attest to that.
Definitely.
So we get to the meeting, everybody's pretty much in the cinema outside waiting for, you know, the doors to be open so we can go in and have the meeting. And we're just all like, no way he's retiring. Like, this isn't true. He wouldn't let that happen. And, you know, certainly, you know, our athletic director came and opened the door for us, and Coach Wright was with him. And we had the meeting, and that was when the news was just let out. So, yeah.
It's crazy how everyone finds everything out on Twitter nowadays, right?
Man, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It always leaks out. And he's got that TV money now, right?
Oh, yeah, he's making some real bank right now.
Making some real money. So he's still around the program a lot, Coach Wright?
He definitely
he's still
is.
around.
Yeah.
So what's like his day-to-day role? Like, is he like in meetings and stuff? Like what's he like? Is he at practice? And
He comes to a few practices when he can, but he's actually really busy being an assistant to the president of the school.
Oh, yeah.
He takes pride in not being like the head of something now. Like now he's like the help. So
Yeah.
he loves that role, and I think he's doing a great job in it. And he's doing stuff for the school and not just for the program, which is very admirable and honorable of him.
You guys said you were on this podcast recently, right? Is that what you said?
Oh,
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah,
right?
last year, like last season.
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, he's always been a media guy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Sure.
What's Coach Neptune like?
He's basically like I look at all of the assistants right now as one of Coach Wright's own, like, sons that he brought up in his program. So he's basically one of the sons of Coach Wright. He's very hard-nosed guy. He's a very bold and outspoken guy. And he's always been that way since an assistant. Now he's just in a head coaching position. And we just appreciate how they all cooperate with one another and just, like, you know, leading us and just constantly always pushing us and just helping us grow every day, not only players, but as, like, you know, persons and human beings. So
yeah. What about you? You like Coach Neptune, obviously? He's
Man.
good.
Yeah, love the guy, man. But all the coaches, like he said, they kind of have their own version of being Coach Wright.
Yeah.
And with him, it's just it's really all of them believing in the same deal, the same principles, and the same things that we hold value in this program, and they just show it just a little bit different. That's all. So.
As the older guys on the team, when that kind of went down, did you guys have to kind of like step up in that moment of like, because I'm sure some people were upset. As anytime there's a change, like some people that might have committed or recruits that came in are like, wait, I didn't know this was going to happen. Did you guys have to kind of like pull the team together at that point and like kind of like what did you guys do as leaders during that time?
I just remember we had a meeting after it happened, and we just was all, together on it, just talking about our feelings and whatnot, because it's impossible not to feel anything.
Yeah.
It's a coaching change, but to know that Neptune was coming in was very comforting because Coach kept it in the family, and that was very empowering for me, empowering for Slate, and we just came together and just stayed together. We had to pull the guys together and just let them know like everything's gonna be okay. Like we just got to stay together and just constantly take this one day at a time.
Yeah. I want to ask both of you about the decision to come back for like these, your senior year. I think it's 5th year for you, right? And then are you in 5th as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was that process like when you were like weighing the pros and cons of like, do I come back for my final year? Do I not? Start with you.
Yeah, I'd say it was definitely a difficult decision. I was in a unique situation, kind of doing a pretty good year, having a pretty good year, doing pretty good towards the end of the year, having some slumps and stuff like that, just adjusting to the new role. So I would say that I had a unique situation where there was opportunities at the next level maybe, but I knew that I had stuff to get better at. I knew that the team also needed me. I knew that I needed the team. So I felt like the decision after me weighing all the options was like, oh, yeah, just come back. Yeah. And then luckily Caleb decided the same thing, and I think that just made it easier for me, made it easier for everybody else in the situation.
Yeah. What about you? What was that process like?
I'll just say simple. There was more work to do. We were stepping into bigger roles coming in. We knew that. So it's not going to only be about us, but about the team and what can we do for the team instead of what can the program do for us, Like we have to be able to be leaders every single day and serve and just be the best that we can be, which could enable the team to be the best that they can be as well. So I think coming into it, we knew we had a bigger role. We were on the same track with that. So, just keeping a mindset of like we got more work to do.
Yeah. I was watching some highlights from the season. That face mask is tough. I like that look. It's sick.
Yeah,
it looks sweet. Like it's like scary. I was watching the highlights from. You dropped 24 last game, right? What was it? Last game,
that was first game.
It's your first game, yeah. So I was watching those highlights. Who'd you say it looked like? Rip Hamilton.
It's not the first time I got that. For sure, definitely.
What is obviously that's like a safety protocol for you?
Yeah. So I broke my nose around September 28th and got it fixed the following week. So when I found out I had to wear the mask, at first I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to. My nose already hurts, so fine, but I'll wear it. But it was just like the first couple weeks was just, I hated that mask. Like I would take it off during practice, and you would hear Dan on the sideline, put it back on. This is how you can't play with it without it. So I'm just like, okay, it's only a 6-week, precautionary measure of wearing it. So I think towards the end of me wearing it, I started getting used to it. And you just can't be, it's like you can't really always pay attention to the mask because you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. And once I pushed past that, I think I was fine.
Yeah, it's sweet. Now it's a brand. It's a look now. I like it.
I ain't gonna lie, like, for some reason, every year we have somebody who has to wear the mask. For some reason, somebody breaks their face every year. Since I've been here, the 5 years I've been here, somebody has broken their face every single year. And he has been the best player with the mask, like hands down. Colin Gillespie was a killer. Jeremiah Robinson Earl was a killer. Joe Cremo was a killer. But like, literally, I've never seen nobody like make shots with the mask like to the side of their face. Like he can't even see the rim, and he's just shooting it. Like,
Is it fogging up too?
It fogs
up crazy.
His sweat, like you can see his sweat drip through like the eye holes. It looks nasty, but like he's a killer with it, man. I gotta give him his credit.
Yeah, I saw on the highlight you hit that like step back three at the top of the mask was like halfway off your face in that highlight. That's funny. Let's talk about the season a little bit. You guys lost last game, but big game tonight. Like, what are kind of the expectations you guys have for the season? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I just say the goal for any team at the Villanova program is to be the best team we can be by the end of the season, and it might look different for every team.
Yeah.
For last year's team, nobody honestly thought that we would make it all the way to the Final Four, and that was a blessing because all we wanted to do was just be better the next game, come back, get better, and learn from that. And then do better the next game. And then if we didn't, all right, assess ourselves and come back and get better for the next game. We were never focused on the end goal of, what game do we want to finish at? Do we want to win the Big East championship?
Yeah.
We were down 17 points, like maybe even more, but we were down 17 points with almost 12 to 13 or 11 minutes on the clock, like in the first round of the Big East tournament. So when that happens, your season's in jeopardy. Not just this one game, your season's in jeopardy. And honestly, I'm so proud of those guys. And in that moment, we fought, and that helped propel us all the way to the Final Four last year.
Yeah.
With the team this year, I think that all we can say is that we just want to focus on getting better and learn each day. I think we have a lot of growth that can happen, and that's a good thing for us. We have positions and new roles that we haven't been in. And then the younger guys, they're stepping up into the new roles. So I think that we're going to be a team that is learning each day, and hopefully whatever that takes us, I'll be proud of that.
Yeah. So explain those new roles and kind of like what's changed.
Yeah, for me and Caleb and Eric Dixon and Chris Arcidiacono, we're guys who have now stepped up into the more of the commanding the offense and the defense. Last year, you could see Jermaine Samuels, Colin Gillespie, Justin Moore, who's out right now. You could see those guys kind of putting people in their positions, putting people in their spots, also making the smart play offensively, making that play defensively. Justin Moore guarding the best player. So you got to give those guys their credit, because without them, I don't know what team we would be. I don't know what position we'd be in without those guys. So seeing them do it is a little bit easier for us, but you never know until you're in those situations, and that's something that we're learning right now. Yeah.
What's something you decided when you came back that you like wanted to improve or work on for this season?
I think the main thing was just being more vocal, not only with Brandon and I, but just with the whole team. You know? Last year I thought we were pretty vocal for the most part, but Colin and Jermaine and Damir and Justin did such a great job of just leading and just always making sure guys are in the right spots. Yeah. And that's what made us successful at the end of the day, end of the year. And I think going into the season, I think the more focal point was just being more vocal and making sure everyone is in the right spot, have the right mentality going into each game. And we're still building on that now. And like Brandon said, like our goal is to always just be the best team that we can be by the end of the year, and constantly grow and just develop as one. So,
what's it like playing at Villanova with such obviously like a passionate fan base about basketball, like going from Tulane to Villanova, like being at a school where it's like so important like it is here, like where the expectations also really high, like people expect to win national championships at Villanova. What's it like being at a program like this?
Well, I would say no slight to Tulane, but basketball wasn't really as high as a priority as it is here. It was more football based than basketball. So coming here, it was quite different because of just I would say just the grind. Every single day, like you're called on to pretty much get better. I'm speaking for internally, not externally. You're called on to make sure you're getting the other guy better, to make sure that you're progressing every single day, that you understand what Villanova basketball really is. And from the outside, it can look pretty easy by how we do things, but in reality, going through it is pretty tough. But it's very rewarding in life, It teaches you a lot, not about just basketball, but how are you as a man, as a person, and how will you grow as a man and as a person. And I think that's something that I can really appreciate about this program.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I just say I didn't come from another program, so I only knew this program, but in the same sense, that jump from high school to college was a big jump, and it's different for everybody. And for me, I think that coming to a school with such structure and such emphasis on the small details helped me so much to get better. Help me open my eyes to understand what college basketball is and what maturing as a man is. And everything that he said is correct. Like the priority for us each day is to get better. And that's all we can really ask of each other. And that's all we want to ask of each other and push each other to get better.
It's got to be cool, at least I would think, to be at a school that's like a basketball school. You know what I mean? That like this is a basketball place, and you're not like, you know, football is important here, but like this is the basketball school. Like you just mentioned in Tulane, it's like kind of reverse. In a lot of programs, the two, football and basketball, are kind of like competing for attention or competing for dollars. Do you feel like that's an advantage to like be at a place that's so basketball focused?
I think it's an advantage. Like I said, like you're able to push yourself even more and like just to stay focused and one track minded on just basketball. Obviously school as well is very important, but just being able to just be in an environment where you're able to push yourself and others is extremely important, because not only do you get what you want out of it, but others around you do too. So I think that's pretty important, because everyone wins in that.
Yeah. Does Coach Neptune have any cool sayings he says all the time, like, or Coach Wright? I was talking to some football players, and they were telling me all their coaches, Coach Sweeney at Clemson, they were going through all his sayings. So you got any good ones?
I think he can do the impersonation way better than me.
Give it to us. For who? For Coach Wright or Coach Neptune?
Who do you want?
Both. I want both. Let's hear it.
Oh, Lord. You want to do Coach Nep?
I do Coach Nep. If you just don't do something, you know, strong, he'll just tell you that it's not sweet. I won't say the actual words, but he'll just say it's not sweet.
It's not sweet.
And just tell us, you know, you just gotta toughen up. I'll say it like that. He has a funny tone and accent that I joke around with, like the older guys with. That's why he wanted me to do it, but I'll just say that. And then Coach Wright, he just tells us all the time, growth mindset. Growth mindset. Like anything that doesn't go our way, anything that we need to get better at, he's like, growth mindset. Like you just got to get better, keep growing, got to understand that you need to get better at things, and it helps you. Like I could do an actual impression, but I think it would be smart not to.
I think we need AD shaking her head over there.
Yeah.
He's going to be scrolling through Twitter one day and pop up. He's not going to like it. What's one thing that like maybe people don't know about playing big time college basketball? Like what's something that you guys deal with or go through that the average fan wouldn't know?
I would say the first thing is, from the outside, it can look, like Brandon said, it can look sweet.
Yeah.
That we can get a lot of benefits now, including NIL and everything, but the demands are, you know, large. Like there's a lot of time that we're being put into this since the summertime to springtime, and it's a full year thing. It's not something that, okay, we can take some time off, like a couple months, and then just come back to it. It's like there's a big time demand, commitment demand for sure, and just the amount of work that we put in is just every single day, basically. And I think a lot of people don't see that, and plus to mention that we have school as well. So, you know, it's a full-time job, and it's something that we love to do every single day, and that we're blessed with to even have the talent and the capabilities to do it. So I would say that's the thing that most people don't see from the outside.
Yeah. What about you? Anything comes to mind?
Yeah, basically what he said. I mean, it's definitely a task, and it's definitely something that we love to do, but there's so much that goes into it that not the everyday person sees. They might see us with the followers or the NIL deals or guys scoring a lot of points or getting a lot of rebounds in the game, but you don't see all the practices and all the workouts, all the tough nights, the long nights, coming back, shooting late at night, you studying the other team, scout, or trying to understand what they do and to make yourself better as a player. You don't understand all the nutritious value, everything that you got to put in your body. You know that it affects you. So I think there's so much that goes into that, and then the mental aspect also. It's taxing on your mind as well. And I think we have the support here where we can ask for that help, and then we can get it. But it is a lot, and I think that the everyday person might not see everything that goes into it, or the toll that it takes on your body and your mind, and it's really important for us to always make sure that we're good in each end.
Take me through a typical week in the life, like in season, like obviously it's a grind. Like take me through like a Monday through Saturday of what a game week's like. What are you guys doing each day?
Depending on if we have like 2 or 3 games that week. Let's say we have like 2 games that week. We'll practice every day. Practice and try to make sure that we're fine tuning every detail, everything that we can to make ourselves better. And let's say that we have a game on that Wednesday and it's that Monday. So that Monday practice we'll be practicing, and then we'll try to do everything that we can. We have school like regular time. Then that Tuesday it might be like a lift or something that'll be different. But we have practice, we have shooting times, we have massages, we have cold tubs, ice tubs, and then I think that it helps us though. Then like we said, we talked about our game day routine. Then the next day we might have a day off, or we might have a thing called flush, where we just we have a great strength and conditioning coach. We just try to flush our body out, all the toxins, everything that we did from the day past, or those few days that led up to the game, try to flush that out and get ready for the next game. And it's kind of like a repeating cycle, so it's kind of like you might be a little bit lighter on your feet that day, but you're still getting the same amount of work and the same amount of load on your body, and it's good for you. Sometimes taxing your body and getting everything out is good for you. And I think we have a great strength and conditioning coach who knows our bodies and knows what it takes to be high-level athletes. And I think it's just we're practicing. We understand that we need to get better at something. Practice on that even more, have film, watch it, talk about it, and I think it's like an everyday routine that we're just so used to.
You ever forget what day it is during the season? Like it's gotta
all
like be a
all the time.
Like is it a weekend or is it a weekday?
Hey, the only times we know is game days. That's what it sometimes comes to. But we're so busy at it at times that we could forget the days. But I think the most valuable thing is that we have each other, so that's what makes it worthwhile, and that's what makes it fun.
How has NIL been? Obviously, like you guys are living through a transition in college sports that hasn't happened before. How's it been? Like, what's kind of, has it been what you expected it to be?
I think it's been what I expected it to be. It's very, it's new, but it's very, I think, rewarding for athletes who, do a lot and are expected to get paid, based on their name, image, and likeness. So I think it's honestly a blessing. Honestly, I think it's a plus because we also, not only do we get a scholarship, but we also get paid for, our name, image, and likeness, like you said. So I think it's everything that I expected it to be.
What about you?
I mean, I definitely think that it's something that should have, happened a long time ago. And I think that the guys who are profiting off of it deserve it,
I'm sick it didn't happen a long time ago.
Oh, man, I know. What'd you miss it by? 2 years? Or a year?
Like 3 or 4. I'm old,
man. 3 or 4? It's all good. I mean, if we graduated in our actual class, we'd have probably missed it too.
Y'all are old, man.
But no, I really think it's amazing for everybody and every athlete to have the opportunity, to get deals. And I think that it's a great thing. And obviously there's some things that people just have to fine tune and get better at. And I think as time gets along, it'll be even better for the next generation of athletes.
That bank account looks a little different with the NIL money.
Slight difference.
Confidential information.
What's the best piece of advice a coach has ever given you?
I would say, and I always say this to our guys. Coach Wright, he taught me this. It's always a journey of a season. It's not where you are at the moment, but where you're going to be, where you're going to. And as long as you're taking steps forward every single day, that's what matters the most. So that's what I would say.
Love it.
Yeah, Coach Wright has this saying, we practice to create habits that make us successful in the most difficult situations. And that's just like Coach Wright telling us that everything that we're doing, we are doing it hard. We are testing ourselves. We are seeing how we can maneuver in these situations. And it might be difficult for us, and we might not be able to get it right at that one time. But we're going to practice again. And then we're going to practice again. And then we might go into the game, and as you've seen that we lost to Temple, but we might practice again. We always just try to get better each day, and that's the biggest thing. You might fail 100 times, but that 101 time that you get up and you're like, all right, I'm ready to go at it again. I think that's what pushes you, and that's something that Coach Wright, that's all he wanted. He never really cared about the wins or losses, and neither does the coaching staff now, neither does Coach Nep. The wins and losses aren't the important thing. It's how we played, and it's if we learned. And if we learn from it and we can get better as men as well, then that's a win for us.
I wanted to ask you about I saw you drop the merch line.
Oh, last year.
Yeah. Oh, I saw it on your Instagram. Can I get one of those shirts or something, man?
For sure. Just let me know.
How'd that come about? Like just an NIL thing? You do merch too?
I'm starting to do NIL deals. They're getting on me about that, but I'm starting to do it. So.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
But basically, Players Trunk just contacted me, asked me if I wanted to, potentially drop a merch line and whatnot, and I just said, why not?
Yeah.
And, that's how it pretty much came about. I want to say, almost midpoint of the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't have much NIL going on or any deals going on, so I just decided to just partner with them for a little bit.
Yeah, it's sweet.
So,
yeah, I'm trying to rock that in a podcast sometime, man. You gotta hook me up. You coming out with one too now?
Hey, listen, man.
When's that dropping?
I'm getting a couple deals, and hopefully, I can get all that sorted away, and hopefully I could get you, some clothes, some things if I do that.
Yeah, hook it up, man. Hook it up.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Villanova's campus. And kind of like what do you guys like about the campus? Like obviously being outside of Philly, like what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that because proximity, we're so close to Philly. Like, we're not within the city limits of Philadelphia.
It's
but
nice. You got outside of it.
Yeah, we're right outside it. And we still have all the same atmosphere, the same feeling of Philadelphia because it's not too far away. Yeah. So I think that it's really cool that this is also an Augustinian school. We are a private school, Catholic, and it's an Augustinian school. And I think that we try to hold true to the values that Augustinians believe in. And I think that it's very unique in the way that that this school tries to blend religion in with religious beliefs, whatever religious beliefs you have. They try to be open to whatever you believe in, whatever you feel, and try to just understand that all people from all walks of life deserve to have the same opportunities. Yeah. And I think that is very unique in school itself to have.
Got it. Love it, man. It's such a cool, like we were driving here today and I was like, we were talking about how it must be so cool to like be outside of Philly. You don't have to go into the city, but you also can get in there whenever you want to go, like go out or whatever you want to do. It must be cool. Yeah. Got a tough one for you, all right? Top 3 NBA players of all time, in order.
Oh, easy for me.
Okay,
Michael Jordan. No, I'm sorry. Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
Okay. 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Kobe number 1, okay.
You can't ask me that, man. But I'll tell you what.
This is going to be a TikTok clip.
Yeah, I got you.
For sure.
Mike and Kobe are 1A, 1B.
Okay.
LeBron
he's so politically
1A, 1B.
He's so politically
1A, 1B. LeBron is 1C. That's how I see it.
Okay.
You can rearrange however you want to put the players.
Listen, no, try not to put it.
For me,
he's trying to put it not in order.
For me, I am definitely a Kobe guy. But I see everything with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the shoe. Michael Jordan, the player. Michael Jordan, the person, the mogul, the athlete. That's who I would strive to become. Kobe as well, and LeBron as well, if I had those same talents as all 3 of those guys. But honestly, Kobe's my favorite player of all time. So I got to go with Kobe. I'm not mad if you pick Michael Jordan as well. Whatever you want to flip around. Yeah. And LeBron is also one of the most talented players we've ever seen, one of the greatest players of all time. So literally, whatever you decide, I'm not going to argue it. I actually am going to argue it because all the guys say I love arguing. But
you're a debater.
Yeah. I might not even believe in the situation, but I'll try to make your point, your decision wrong. But all 3 of those guys are legendary, man. I gotta give all them their credit.
I think this is coming from a LeBron guy. Like I gotta put Kobe up there because like the amount of times I was sitting in front of that TV stressing on how bad he's looking, making LeBron look bad, and how bad he just makes his competition look. I think I will always see like Kobe as like my GOAT, and that's coming from a LeBron fan, and then Michael Jordan, and then LeBron. So I gotta give respect where it's due.
All right, in the NBA today, you need a 3-pointer to win the game. The whole universe is on the line. You get one guy to take that shot. Who you picking?
I'm taking Iguodala.
That's so funny.
I was thinking that too.
That's so funny because we were watching that on the way here, and I'm asking you guys.
Nah, we talk about it all the time.
It's so funny. We literally just watched that clip.
I'll wait for you to say it too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you'd be dumb if you don't pick Steph Curry, though. Greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah, Steph for sure. Definitely Steph.
I thought we were going to get a little more controversial answers.
No,
that one right there is
not
like,
that one.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, who's an NBA player you guys model your game after right now, or kind of like think your game emulates, or you watch a lot?
For me, I try to pick guys, who have the same build as me or who play the same positions and stuff like that. But I've always loved Kawhi Leonard. I've always loved his game. I try to have some type of hair that that's similar to his. But honestly, he's my favorite player. He's been my favorite player since he got into the league. I just love that he's so quiet, but like he's just a straight killer, and like everything that he does, like people just see how important he is to the game. And then again, Kobe Bryant, guys who are built like that. I love a Trevor Ariza type player. Karis LeVert, certain guys like that. I just love how they play, and I just love how important they are. And then I got to give credit to the hometown guy. I got to give credit to the Villanova basketball player himself, Mikal Bridges. All those guys, man. They're all my favorite players. And when I see them, I just get so happy watching these guys play.
Who you got?
It's tough to say because I watch a lot of basketball, especially in the NBA, but I would probably say offensively, I really like Spencer Dinwiddie's game, and it's not, a common like thing for guys to look at his game, but I study his game a lot. He plays off his jump shot a lot. He's very crafty getting his shot off, very crafty using his shot to get to the rim and just making decisions off of that. So I really admire his game, and from that facet. One guy that I really love defensively is Drew Holiday. Honestly, regardless of what anyone says, I think he's probably, in my opinion, like the best shooting guard in terms of like what he provides on both ends, particularly defensively, and just being able to attack guys the way he does. Offensively, I want to be able to have that impact on every game that I play in. So I would say those two guys, and mainly the reason why I like Drew Holiday because he can play 1 through 4. He's tough enough to do it. He's built to do it. So I try to do that every single day. Like I have to guard the 1 through 5 every single day in practice, sometimes in games, and same as Brandon. So I think those are the two guys that I would have to stick with.
What do you guys want to do when you're done playing basketball in hopefully 20 years from now?
Probably something like this. Being a sports analyst or just have my own podcast like you. So I think that's the thing that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid.
You'd be good at that, man.
Thank you.
Good personality. What about you?
Yeah,
Same thing?
I'd actually love to be the guy behind the camera.
Really?
I love film. I love movies, everything.
We actually did a movie for his class. He actually conducted a movie.
Seriously?
I did.
So you're a true cinematographer.
Oh, man, I love it.
Like Chris.
Yeah, man. I love being behind the scenes.
That's sweet. So you can like produce his podcast.
I would love to do that.
That'd be sweet. I want to be a guest on that show sometime. I may not be big time enough, but last thing I got for you. I feel like any athlete that's achieved the level of success you guys have, there's always some kind of external motivation, or there's like there's a reason you do what you do every day. What's your why?
I would say my why is my family. My family's always been my why. They've been with me through every step of the way, and they love me for me, and they've supported me throughout each and every step. So I would say my family, my friends, and most importantly, God. I think honestly, one thing that I always think about is just he sacrificed his life for us.
Yeah.
So like, why can't I do the same? Like in terms of like, being nice to other people, being a good person, and just being the best version of myself every single day, because he's blessed us all with the gift to just, live life and do it abundantly under his light. So like, why not?
Yeah.
So that would be my whys.
It's awesome.
Yeah, like Caleb said, I'm a very spiritual person as well. So my why starts with God and starts with my belief in Him. Nobody's perfect, but we always try to strive to be the best people that we can be. And for him, being so selfless and sacrificing everything and giving everything up for the better of your community, for the better of the world, I think that's something that I strive to do. I might not be perfect at it, but that's something that I strive to do, and that pushes me. And you can ask my teammates, whatever they ask of me, I'll do it. I'll try to run through a wall for them. So it doesn't matter if we're up, down. I'm trying to do whatever I can for my teammates and my coaches. And then also that internal factor of being proud of myself, being proud of where I come from, being proud of my family. That pride is something that I'm trying to, just show out on the floor at all times, and being proud of my teammates and my coaches, being proud of Villanova basketball. That pride is something that I try to take advantage of all the time, and I try to show that with everything I do.
Awesome, man. Well, this was fun, guys. I appreciate you finding time for me on game day. I know your schedule's tough, but you guys are clearly great representatives of what it means to be a Villanova basketball player. So appreciate it. Good luck tonight, and go win a national championship.
Sure, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. It's game day, right?
Yeah, game day.
tonight?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Delaware State back at it. And we got to get a sour taste out of our mouth. It was a long Friday night.
We just shot a podcast with Daniels and Slater in the
did you?
in the pavilion. Yeah, it was awesome. Did it right on the court, so it was
good.
really cool.
Yeah.
Those are two great guys,
Oh, my
great
goodness,
representatives
yeah.
of the school.
Yeah, we're blessed to have guys that get it, and
Yeah.
those are two great leaders. Yeah, so hopefully we get back on track.
Yeah. So
Exciting.
I wanted to ask you and start with the big positive. You've had 2 basketball national championships since you've been the AD here. How does that impact the school as a whole? How does it impact the entire athletic department? Kind of like talk about what that does at that, at the highest level of basketball when you have that kind of success.
Yeah, well, I think it starts with the mission of the entire university, which is built around community,
Yeah.
right? It's an Augustinian fundamental principle called unitas. So it's unitas in community, is veritas in truth, and caritas in love. And I think those characteristics and those values is something we understand here in athletics. It's something that Jay Wright certainly understands as a great ambassador. So first it speaks to the alignment, and the way that we work together. So even prior to, that's been happening for a long time here, since 1842. But I think so much of what those teams exemplified are held true to everybody at the university. That's why there was everybody could identify with those teams. And then the impact certainly could be felt around our brand, around the admissions piece. I think the confidence that it gives the other programs in our profile to go out and compete on a national level. I think all those things continue to be impacted in a really positive way. And but I think it speaks more to the way we work together. We benefit when the business school has success, and we benefit when the School of Engineering has success, or we launch a new fundraising campaign. So we're all really closely connected.
Do you find, are there any difficulties with kind of having a basketball program that has such high expectations all the time, and the fans want a national championship every single year, and what are kind of the challenges that presents?
Yeah, I think what we come back to, it's not about championships or winning 30 games or competing to the Final Four. It's playing Villanova basketball, and I know that kind of sounds cliche and maybe a way out of a tough question, but we know what Villanova basketball looks like when we hold it to our own standard. And when you have in my opinion, one of the best coaches across any platform, in sports, do it for so long and so good. Yeah, the expectations are supposed to rise, but it goes beyond just wins on the court, right? This is academic success. It's what our guys go on and do after they graduate. we know when that doesn't feel right or things are off course, and it helps center us. And it comes back to, again, alignment with mission. We're not trying to be like anybody else.
Yeah.
We want to be the best Villanova basketball team we can be based on the way we play. Yeah. And I think Kyle understood that. That's what went into the decision, to bring Kyle back. Kyle understood that better than anybody, in my opinion. So, and that, he's got his work cut out for him to live up to that standard, but he understands what it is. Yeah.
You spent a lot of time at USC. How much did that time prepare you for this moment now as the AD at Villanova? What were kind of the similarities between the two places?
Yeah, very much so. In terms of a standard being set in football, flagship football, the importance of what that meant to the entire campus and community, and heavy expectations. And I was around for transition from, Pete Carroll, unprecedented success there, and on to some other coaches that, struggled to uphold it, because it's not easy. But there were lessons learned in that. I think, Kyle Neptune doesn't have to be Jay Wright. He doesn't have to talk like him. He doesn't have to dress like him. He doesn't have to do all the things that Jay did. But you have to understand the ingredients to have success at Villanova, because guys have been doing that long before Jay, and hopefully long after Jay and Kyle as well. And I think that's what Kyle understands. It goes back to mission and our expectations around the program.
What's the advantage that being in a major metropolitan market does? Same thing that USC had, being in the Philadelphia area. What does that bring for the athletic department?
I've learned a lot about the way we recruit here and the way we attract talent. And for every program, it's different. We have 24 sports. We have 650 student athletes from all over the world that come here. But the way we attract elite student athletes for cross country is much different than the way we recruit for the men's basketball program. But let's start there. The men's basketball program, to be in this strategic Northeast corridor, whether it's Jersey, whether it's the DMV,
a lot of talent
right here in Philly. Yeah, it's been a blueprint for a lot of success. And it's not to say that we don't go out and recruit nationally. We do that as well. But we understand our backyard really, really well. And I think not only for the time that our student athletes are here, but then to tap into those strategic markets afterwards is really important. And we build really solid bridges with those communities. You'd probably be surprised to learn Los Angeles is a huge market for us in terms of alums going back. So that plays into our, sometimes our tennis programs will go out there, or, we've had kids have success in football from California. Charlotte is a huge area for us. And, in looking our admissions profile, just in the time that I've been here, which I got here in 2015, we had about 14,000 applicants for, roughly 1,600 spots. And this year, I think we'll push upwards to 25,000 from all over the world.
Big jump.
Yeah, man, it's been fun to watch. So it's opened up doors that have really benefited a number of our programs.
Something I'm super curious about is just the differences. Villanova's in probably a smaller group of schools that has big time basketball and plays FCS football. Yeah. There aren't all that many of them, and a lot of times it's big time football and basketball is okay. Yeah. What are kind of the advantages, disadvantages, the dynamic that creates of just having a basketball program that's so big time and then playing FCS football?
Yeah, it's really is a unique model, and I've tried to benchmark our operation against anybody. There's nothing that really matches us completely. To have flagship Big East basketball that generates revenue, right, is a revenue source for us. Then we have 23 programs that don't. And when you have FCS football, which costs a significant amount of money, it poses challenges, but ones that we're able to meet. So that's sort of the downside. But the upside is we've been playing football here for 135 years. We've won a national championship. It allows us to recruit a student to our campus that may not have the opportunity to go to a school like Villanova if it weren't for football. I'm a football guy, so I love the tradition around homecoming, the tradition around Parents' Weekend and Family Weekend. It's part of our DNA, and we all benefit from that. And Mark Ferrante, our head coach, has done a wonderful job, and again, replacing a legend like Andy Talley, who was here forever, buildings named after him, Hall of Fame coach. Similar to the transition from from Jay to Kyle, we went through that with football and handled it really well. And I love our profile of sports. I love the fact we've had coaches here for the long term. If you look at our retention rate and our consistency with our head coaches, take tremendous pride in that. We've had coaches here that, legendary coaches that have been here a long time. Our track and field and cross country program, and Marcus O'Sullivan is always an example that I use of just been able to do it consistently year after year. And we have a lot of programs that are like that.
You mentioned that you're a football guy. I wanted to ask you about all the time you spent, in working in the NFL. You worked for Lane Kiffin's staff in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And like just tell me about that journey, that time, and all those different roles you had.
Yeah, like a lot of us, I wasn't sure. I knew I wanted sports. I just didn't know what path or vertical. And it took me quite a while of exploring and a lot of self-discovery through trying coaching, trying personnel. I was with the Patriots and the Raiders, and I was at USC for the majority of my career, but was also at Syracuse University. I tried the business end of sports, right? You're in the middle of that here with Mercury. So after all that was said and done, I finally hit a crossroads when we have 4 children, my wife and I think I was 35 at the time. Right, I knew I had to go in with both feet into one of them. If I was going to end up where I wanted to be in terms of running something or being in charge of something, I had to make that commitment. And everything for me pointed back to being on a college campus, and still having ties to football, no question. But I love the variety of what I get to do. I love working with, as I mentioned, so many different programs, so many different kinds of athletes. I'm a little bit ADD, so I like jumping all over the place, from fundraising to recruiting to maybe it's a compliance issue or a budget issue. But I think the main thing that drew me out of the football-specific world was getting to do something different every day.
Yeah. What were some of those specific roles you had in football? Right? You were in the front office staff at the Raiders, right? With Kiffin's staff.
Yeah. I started as an intern with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Was then as low as you could go on the totem pole in a full-time role as an operations assistant. But then I got into offense and special teams analyst work.
Doing all the input on the film.
Yeah, you know what it's like, yeah. But think, in the opportunity, and I grew up in Mansfield, Massachusetts, which is 5 minutes from Foxborough. But within 5 or 6 years, I worked for Coach Parcells, Coach Carroll, and Coach Belichick. And, come out of there. But what it taught me was that I wasn't cut out for coaching. It was probably, the best lessons I learned was what I probably wasn't my strength.
Yeah.
So then, I jumped into administration at USC, thought I was on the collegiate administrative path, and then a private business opportunity jumped up and wasn't the right fit, but I went. And then, jumped in with the Raiders in a front office role with Lane Kiffin, and that transitioned to Tom Cable, and overseeing player contract negotiations, some salary cap work, stuff like that.
Done it all, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool experience. I wanted to ask you about the Big East and just in the day and age of conference realignment and it seems every school's trying to move and where the TV money takes them. What's kind of the commitment to the Big East been like? And it seems like you guys are in pretty stable footing with that conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's fluid, right? We're paying attention to the landscape. Everything that's impacting, the Autonomy 5 is impacting us in some way, shape, or form. And it's not to say that, we're better suited for the future of college athletics. It's not that. But I do believe we know who we are and what we're about. We're flagship basketball. We're elite academics. A lot of us are tied to mission, right?
Yeah.
Through religious mission. So there's a lot of similarities amongst the schools that has really worked to our advantage. We know having success in the NCAA tournament is paramount. We know the Madison Square Garden Big East tournament in New York City is paramount to our success. Academic achievement we've talked about. Our commitment to service, and the service of others is really important. So that alignment has certainly helped. I know this. I can speak on behalf of all the other 10 athletic directors. We're really close. And I think the tough times that we've been through, the pandemic, a lot of the social justice issues that we face on our college campuses have united us. There's a text thread that probably doesn't go by that we're not weighing in on something. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's serious. And I have to give a ton of credit to our presidents, but most importantly to Val Ackerman. Val is one of the brightest people in sports I've ever had the chance to work with. She's one of the smartest people I've ever worked with. Her commitment to the institution she represents is phenomenal. So I have great confidence in us as a unit, and then with her leadership and the leadership of the presidents, that we'll be able to navigate what's ahead.
How challenging was NIL and just the changing dynamic of that, and having to adjust and maneuver? Everyone's kind of figuring it out at the same time. What's that been like as the leader of the department?
Yeah, it's still challenging to be honest with you, because it's so fluid, and we're figuring out what the short term looks like, what it means in terms of recruiting. So you're looking at that vertical, right? But then you're also looking at what it means to retention of your own roster, and what's going to happen at the end of this season for all these different programs. And obviously you have this transfer portal, which is a mechanism that makes it really easy for those. So to educate all those that are around it, and we're like a lot of institutions, we're very risk averse. We don't want to be the first ones trying something. We don't want to be the ones in the headlines for doing something wrong. That is paramount. So it's been an education for our donor base to understand the urgency of what we're under, the importance of what we're doing. Whereas, if you had asked me in the first few years of this job, building a new basketball arena was paramount. It was critical to our success and our long-term success. That conversation's changed. It's much more about personnel and players and how we're navigating the things you mentioned. So it's a sharp learning curve, but we have the right resources here. Fortunately, we have the capacity to be in that game and to play in that sandbox. But we got to do it within the framework of making sure we make sound decisions.
You shifting gears a little bit. You played DB at Colby College in Maine, right?
Yeah,
Tell me about your playing career, and then you got to give me one player that like who in the NFL now was your style like?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Can we pull up some film on here?
The player that might remind, it's the guy that runs out and gets the tee. After somebody kicks off on a windy day. That would be the only comparison I would make my playing style. No, but Colby was a wonderful experience. I was just up in the Boston area spending some time with a teammate. And look, Division III football gave me the chance to go on and play and make some of the best friends I'll ever have in my life. And we had wonderful experiences. We actually had a lot of success there. But I think it grounds me in Division I athletics in terms of what I think I know is the right balance between academics and athletics. And I know that world is murky right now too, but it created in me a foundation that I'll forever be appreciative of, and it took a lot of lessons with me here and on the job. So it's been good.
How important has your relationship with Nike been for just, kind of all the different things it brings, recruiting, revenue generation? What's that relationship been like? Yeah,
I've been really fortunate, both, with 3 stops, really, USC, Syracuse, and now Villanova, that all 3 have been flagship Nike schools, and so made some wonderful friendships and relationships there. And it's different, right? In the football world, it was the flagship nature of that relationship helped on so many different fronts, equally as powerful, maybe even more so in the basketball world. I didn't understand quite as well as I do now the relationships and how that impacts recruiting and what Nike wants to get behind at the youth level and high school level, and how that impacts the world, the expectations when the kids come here. And we've been blessed to have great support across the board, university-wide, and Nike has gone through evolutions of change as well, and to have a partner that understands what we're facing on the front lines has been really good. And then the world-class product they provide. Couldn't be any more excited to take part in this PK85. Next week we'll be in Portland, Oregon to celebrate that with Mr. Knight. And our student athletes are really looking forward to it, to be around a bunch of other Nike partners and some really good, talented teams. But so we'll always take great pride in that relationship.
There's so many FCS football programs right now that it seem to be talking about making a jump to FBS or are making the jump you're seeing more every single year. Is that something that you have ambition for at some point, or is it something you guys talk about? Like, what's your mindset on kind of the football program as a whole?
Yeah, it's a discussion that we've certainly had on campus before my time and during my time here. It's not something that we've listed as an objective by any means. We know who we are. We love the Colonial Athletic Association where we are right now. It's great leadership. I'd argue it's the most successful, conference in FCS. You might have some challenges there.
It's close. It's at least one or two, yeah.
Right? And right now, FCS football fits on our campus. The investment that you would need to make in terms of whether it's scholarships, whether it's stadiums, staffing, all those different kinds of things, I don't think we have the appetite for right now. But we have to stay on our toes. We have to pay attention to the landscape, and if it's eventually a fit and our entire campus community wants to get behind it, we'll explore that opportunity. But for right now, we're really, really pleased on where we stand with our football program.
The transition from Coach Wright to Coach Neptune. How did that, just talk me through like that whole process of like when, finding out Coach Wright was going to retire, or maybe you knew for a while, and then deciding that Coach Neptune was the guy for the job? Because I believe you announced it right, like simultaneously, that Coach Neptune was going to be the next head coach right when Coach Wright retired.
Yeah, Jay and I fortunately had a really transparent, open relationship while the time he was here, and had a lot of discussions over the years about maybe what was next and when it would happen. Not that he had any clear answers, but we would have that conversation. So the conversation wasn't foreign to me. Last year, I would say it's, right after the new year, somewhere there in February. But I could just tell the severity and depth of the conversation went to a place it hadn't gone before, where it got more serious. Not that he had 100% made up his mind then, but he confided in me, I confided in him. And it was really just us two and our wives that had this sort of conversation going over the course of February. And then as the season wore on there, as we moved into March in the Big East tournament, I knew that it wasn't going to go the other way, that this was something he was committed to transitioning out of, but he wanted to do it the right way. He wanted to make sure everything that he built would be protected and be put in place. He wanted to stay connected to the program, the university, which God bless him, he is. And so that led to conversations about who was the right leader to uphold that standard that we talked about, and everything that in our conversations kept coming back to Kyle. So it was at that point we had to sort of broaden the circle to bring some other folks in, but we still kept it under wraps. Throughout the whole NCAA tournament and March Madness, we were starting to have some more serious conversations with Kyle that led us down a road that allowed us to move seamlessly when the decision was finally made. Thank goodness it worked out that way, that we were able to keep it intact and to have Jay announce his retirement and Kyle the next day just didn't leave any room for doubt. And when I think about what's so important today is the retention of this roster, the retention of the assistant coaches, the retention of our strength and conditioning program, sports med, that all happened because it was a really, really smooth transition. Thanks to Jay and our president.
You may be the only AD in history who had a whole searching process and a retirement without anything leaking to the media, right? How rare is that?
It was close. There were some media members that were hot on the trail. So we didn't have an intention to do it the day we did it. We thought we'd actually have some more time, but things were heating up, so we had to move pretty quickly.
Yeah, I love it. Take me through a day in the life as an athletic director. Like, what's your day-to-day look like? What are you doing in the morning? Are you in meetings all day? Like, just take me through a day in the life.
Yeah, I try to get up early. I really appreciate the quiet of the morning.
Yeah, no one's bothering you, right?
Yeah. And so if I'm doing all that I want to do, I'm getting up, having some quiet time, getting my head together, and some reflection time, and then I'm working out, try to knock that out in the morning, and then transitioning into what I said was just like a myriad of things that change day to day. And I'm trying to think today, my daughter, I hate to bring this up, is at UVA, and and I'm Carla's a really good friend of mine, so she's on my mind, and I've reached out to her and all that's happening there, and then this is a new relationship here with us with Mercury, which ties into NIL work, which is ongoing, throughout every day now. It seems we're having a conversation about that. It could be a meeting with the president. I'll go back to sort of the collaborative nature in which we work here. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't deal with my president, and that's not a bad thing, but or a dean or the provost. So there's that whole variety of things. I love going out to practices. I love being around that. That's my favorite thing. I'm not a guy that likes to be in the office all that much. I love getting out and around the student athletes. So long-winded answer to say it's a
lot.
A lot and different every day. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that Villanova fans can look forward to in the next few years for Villanova athletics?
Yeah, I think comprehensive competitive excellence, right? I'm proud to tell you that we just took home the Big East President's Award. This is the 4th time in 8 years for comprehensive competitive excellence, academic excellence, and community service work. So we strive to achieve that every year. We want to be the best at what we're doing. Again, we're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. We just want to be the best Villanova athletic department we can. We know that the academic success, the lifelong success, the work we do in our service, community service, is really important to our donor base. But I'm not naive to say that having men's basketball success isn't important to this, and rightly so. All eyes are on us to make sure that we uphold that standard, and so that I would say front and center right now as we start the season. But that holds true for all of our programs. We want all of our programs to strive to win championships. We want them all to graduate complete student athletes. I want our student athletes to leave Villanova and not say, I went to Villanova and I won a Big East championship playing volleyball. I want them to say, I went to Villanova, I made my best friends, I touched every corner of campus, I got a great job, I met my husband, I met my wife, I had a great internship, and I can't wait to come back after I graduate. That is something we're always striving for. If that happens, that means all those other boxes are checked, that they had a really comprehensive experience. So I think that's the expectation of our alumni base as well.
Last question I got for you. In 20, 30 years from now, when people talk about Mark Jackson, the athletic director, what do you want them to say? What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, man. I just, an authentic style of leadership that was reflective of who I am as a person. Look, my family's really important to me. My faith is really important to me. My friendships are vitally important to me. And I want to have a ton of fun. Like, I want to have fun, man. So I go back to my 4 Fs all the time that sort of guide me. And fun, as you can relate as a former athlete, fun isn't just about aloof and laughing, having fun with your friend. Fun is like, to me, the competitive pursuit of a competitive edge in everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and winning's fun, right?
Winning's fun, man. And and to be surrounded with people of like mind that don't allow us to get out of whack, and we know that that's not the only thing here. I think if we hold true to that, then this will be a long-term stop for me that I'll always look back on and smile with. Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, appreciate your time.
Yeah,
You're clearly doing a great job.
Thanks,
it's been fun to watch you guys have success in almost every sport. So, been
we
great.
look forward to building a relationship with you.
Excited. Thank you so much.
Good
Appreciate it.
stuff. Thanks, guys.